Hey guys, this is Junior from Live Clean, and today I am super excited because I am here with a good friend of mine, an animal chiropractor, Dr. Christina Cole, and she's going to be giving a seminar here on Wednesday, February 15th at 7 p.m. So I know this is a topic that some of us are familiar with, but not all of us, definitely by any means. So I guess to get things started here, Christina, what exactly is animal chiropractic?
Well, Junior, animal chiropractic is really exactly what it is. It's chiropractic for animals. Now, I am certified to practice on animals, and I do so exclusively. So, animal chiropractic is just addressing the structural needs of our furry friends. So, I work on things as small as a squirrel and as large as some 1920 hand horses, which if you're not a horse person is really, really large. Imagine like the Budweiser horses, we're talking that big. So, big to small, you can pretty much work on all of it. It's very, very gentle, and it's really just addressing structure as we would with any human too.
Squirrels, really?
Yes, definitely squirrels. Mr. Elliot Nibbles, he's got his own Facebook page.
It makes you wonder who's calling in on squirrel.
People love their animals. People love their animals. That is one thing that I have definitely found. I've worked on goats and sheep and anything, pretty much anything you can imagine at this point.
That is remarkable. So I've been fortunate enough to know Christina for a number of months now, and I've seen footage of all these things, and she does work on a whole litany of animals. I mean, it is very impressive. Now I know this, and you just told our audience you exclusively work with animals.
Right.
Is there a special designation or certification needed to do so?
Yes. So first and foremost, you need an undergraduate degree. So I went to University of Michigan for undergrad. And then after that, you can either be a veterinarian or a chiropractor for humans to then go get certified in animal chiropractic. So unfortunately for me, I have a very weak stomach, so veterinary school was not the option that I chose. I went down the chiropractic route down in Georgia for about 4 years. Got my doctorate there, and then ended up going to Kansas to a school college called Options for Animals College of Chiropractic, and so that's where I got certified in animals.
Very nice. So there is a difference, right,
Yep.
between humans and animals, right?
There is. There's definitely a difference. The anatomy is different. Just their general structure is different. I mean, you have to think about it. We walk on 2 legs, so our weight bearing is a lot different than an animal that walks on 4. Now, that being said, I have worked on a lot of animals that are either 3-legged or have disabilities where they only use 2 legs. So working on them is a little bit different, and it comes in handy that I have experience with humans because they develop as a human would rather than
Wow.
an animal. So it's nice to have all of that in your bag of tricks.
Wow. Okay, that's something to hear every day. Yeah. So I guess now, obviously, an animal with some sort of disability, deformity, if you want to call it that, but if they're missing a limb or something, that would be an obvious sign that they may need some type of care, right? But for those, and there are millions and millions of pets out there, right? So for those of us who do have pets, what are some signs to look for? Maybe some symptoms that we can, tangibly see that would alert us, hey, our animal might need some chiropractic care.
Well, for starters, probably my biggest client base is really older animals. Just like humans, wear and tear on the body does a number on them. And as they age, you can really start to see them struggle with simple things like going up and down stairs, getting in and out of the car, just daily walks even.
Sure.
And those sorts of things can definitely be helped by chiropractic because they are usually structurally related. So if you can address structure, it's going to change the way they function. And if we can make sure they're moving as well as they possibly can, despite having arthritis or whatever else might be going on, you're going to have a completely different animal. Now, outside of just the older realm of animals, you can look as young as puppies. I work on puppies that have literally just been born because if you think back to it, I mean, the birthing process is not an easy process, especially for animals. When you're having a litter of 12 to 14 puppies, it's really crowded in there. So these little guys have been in very weird shapes and positions for a number of months. And when they're born, I mean, if anybody's watched cute puppy videos or kitten videos on YouTube, they're very clumsy. So those sorts of things are things that we want to address early because the saying goes, as the limb grows, so does the tree. So if you start out life in puppyhood or kittenhood in a position that isn't proper and you're not moving the way you should, that's when, as they develop, it doesn't go away. Those manifestations will start to show up in arthritis in 2- and 3-year-old animals, which is an ever common thing nowadays.
Sure.
So it kind of, I do the spectrum. And then even just throughout their lives, there's no person that has an animal that hasn't seen them limp at one point or another.
Yeah,
and
right,
the things with animals is that they will show you a weakness and then suddenly it's gone 5 minutes later. And then it might come back and go, and that's usually the standard of everybody that comes in, well, it comes and goes. Well, here's the thing, animals are born into a world where it's survival of the fittest. So when you show weakness in an animal's world, they're going to be the first one off the totem pole. They can't differentiate between being in a loving home where they're getting fed twice a day and walks and cuddles and love, and between that and being out in the wild on the streets. If they show a limp, they're gone. They're
Sure.
food.
Yeah.
So as much as we like to think that they get that we're their family, they don't understand that entirely. You can't get rid of instinct. So anytime you see a limp or just behavior that's not quite right, even constipation, incontinence, the limping, excessive licking of limbs and that sort of thing, those can 99% of the time have some sort of structural relation. And it's really cool with chiropractic to see what you can do to help it.
So I think that's amazing because, yeah, again, I've been around a number of pets, whether they're my own, families, or friends, and behaviors that we think are normal or commonplace could be a result of some structural misalignment.
Oh yeah, all the time. One of the biggest ones I think I see has to do with constipated animals and incontinent animals. Basically, they can't control bowel and bladder the way they should. And it can start as young as puppies and as old as seniors. It doesn't really pick an age range, but people just think that that's kind of normal, and 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with normalcy. A lot of times, starting with a puppy, if you see an animal falling off a couch or roughhousing really hard, what it can do is actually jam, so to speak, their pelvis. Well, all the nerves that come out of their lower lumbars and their pelvis go to bladder and bowel. So when you've got fixations and pressure aggravating those nerves, it can affect the way they go to the bathroom. So it's pretty cool to see how everything's kind of interrelated.
So in that regard, I think that there's some similarities, some parallels could be drawn between animals and humans.
Huge
right?
parallels, yeah.
So like even in the fitness studio here at Live Clean, we have a number of people that come through of all fitness levels, all ages, and you can tell right away there's some misalignments, right? And over a course of years, they've been overcompensating one way or the next, and it's resulted in injury. And we try to correct some of those things through structural exercises and things of that nature. But beyond that, are there some big differences between actually physically adjusting an animal versus adjusting humans?
Huge differences. And that really comes down to the weight-bearing aspect of things, how humans are on 2 legs and animals are on 4, 9 times out of 10. And when you've got that going on, you have to think about, with us, the forces on our spine are all compressive for the most part. So our intervertebral discs are a lot bigger. They cushion a lot more. Whereas with animals, when you've got 4 legs, the forces on their discs are shearing because gravity is coming down like this versus with us it's like this on our discs. So their disc space and discs themselves are a lot smaller than ours are. With animals, stereotypical chiropractic on humans, you think of the popping, the clicking, the cracking, and that sort of thing. You don't get that with animals. It's really, really gentle. In fact, most people I will tell straight out the gate that it's underwhelming because they come in expecting fireworks and they don't need fireworks. It's very, very gentle. But the coolest part is they respond really quickly to chiropractic. Whereas humans, you often have to kind of convince them that they're feeling better. Animals lack that logical part of their cortex in their brain. So they don't need to be convinced. When they feel better, you can see it in their actual actions. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, if only were that easy with humans, right? Yeah. Very cool. So when it comes to actually adjusting an animal, I guess one, how do you do it? Do you use just your hands? Are there tools involved? And when you do they experience any discomfort, whether it's in the interim initially, over a course of time? And what's the, I'm sure every case is different, but what's the, I guess, quote unquote recovery period? Yeah.
Okay, so the actual adjustment itself is all done by hand. At least that's the way we've been trained. So there's no instruments that are used. It's all directional forces. Like with horses, it's a lot of body weight and that sort of thing. With little guys, it's very gentle. Kind of like if you were going to be adjusting a baby, not a lot of pressure. There's no twisting, nothing like that. So that's really, really gentle. You don't have to worry about that. And then what else did you just ask me?
Well, when you actually adjust them,
the pain thing.
Yeah, you experience any pain.
Very, very rarely. Once in a blue moon, the only animals that will experience pain are those that are already in severe discomfort. So sometimes to get inflammation out of a joint, you have to mobilize it a little bit to the point where it's aggravating that inflammation. So sometimes you'll have animals that come in that are lame or limping or whatever, and after they get adjusted, I always warn their parents that for the next 24 hours they might be a little bit worse, and that's totally okay.
Sure.
It's usually not painful. I always send them home with, if you need to do ice, or a lot of times they're already on pain medications, so we never really take anybody off that's already on something, but we can always do additional things to help soothe them after they've been adjusted.
Okay.
So, between the icing, I'm a big fan of arnica gel and a couple different homeopathics that really help decrease inflammation and help hold the adjustment too.
Okay. So it's good to know that in some cases it might get a little worse before it gets a lot better.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fantastic stuff. Now, I've seen some amazing footage recently from some of Dr. Christina's work, and it's truly remarkable. I've shared it all over Facebook, and it's gotten thousands and thousands of hits. We're talking taking, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll let you tell it, but can you just share with the audience a couple of your more recent success stories?
Well, something that I see a lot of are the end of the road, they've tried everything and nothing's worked, and I'm the last resort. So a lot of times when you get patients like that, they're willing to pretty much do anything. And I get a lot of animals that are partially paralyzed, especially in their back end, especially small dogs. It's not uncommon. It usually happens after a disc ruptures or a disc is so severely bulged that the inflammation on that spinal cord is so severe that they just lose all function and they shut down. So I've had, even just since the beginning of January, I've had 4 dogs that have all come in with no feeling or sensation in their back legs, and it's now been a month and a half, and all 4 of them are now walking to some extent. So it's really cool.
So when you say, now just to paint a picture for the people out there, when you say no feeling, no sensation, they could not use their back leg.
Correct. There was no use in their back legs. Some did still have control of bowel and bladder, some didn't, but almost all of them had no feeling, no pain response, nothing. And we're pretty much told that there were no other options, this is your life, and all of them have made strides. Literally and figuratively.
Right.
All of them have come quite a long way. Some are walking pretty dang steady and others are still a bit wobbly, but even just to be able to get back up on those back legs is really cool.
It really is incredible to see. Again, I encourage you to go on Facebook, whether it's on the Live Clean page, because we've shared, or Advanced Animal Chiropractic, Dr. Christina's practice. Check out the videos. It is amazing. There's a before shot of these. In this case, it was 2 dogs walking, and they could not use their back legs. They were hobbling, and that's putting it kindly. And literally, in a matter of a couple months later, right? These dogs are running around. I mean, hardly a noticeable limp, and they look happy. They're jovial. They're playing. It is really a sight to see, and something that will really warm your heart. So. Again, Christina, thank you so much for taking the time. This woman is as busy as it gets. I'm standing by her today. Literally, she is covered in animal hair. I don't know what type of animals. I haven't asked her, but there is quite a bit. So she's very, very busy, but thank you for taking the time to come talk with me today. And also, again, Wednesday, February 15th at Live Clean Nutrition, 7 p.m. Christina will be here to give a seminar and kind of discuss animal chiropractic and all that goes into it. So we will see you then. Thank you.